You're listening to a Mamamia podcast.
Mamamia acknowledges the traditional owners of land and waters that this podcast is recorded on.
Mamamia Out Loud!
Hello and welcome to Mamamia Out Loud and to our Friday show where we take a break from the news cycle and
breathe out.
You sound relaxed.
It's the noise I make also after I drink tea, which I happen to have here. Listen.
Oh no, this actually makes me want to die.
Oh God, okay. Today is Friday the 4th of October and I am Holly Wainwright.
I'm Leah Freedman.
I'm Jessie Stevens, and Mia, you had a birthday this week and there are two things that make you sound old. Oh, well, seem old. The first is what you just did.
Going like that?
Yes. The second, I've been wanting to bring this up, but you know when you think of it, you don't bring it up, is that when we have scripts that sometimes
I know what you're going to say.
Yeah, you know what I'm going to say?
What? I lick my finger when I turn the page.
You lick your finger when you turn the page.
Brent does that every time he turns a page.
Why? It doesn't help.
I don't understand. It does because it gives you traction, like it makes the page stick. But I agree with you. I don't understand. I was talking to someone else who does this. Why does it start when you are a certain age? Yeah. You start licking your fingers.
And I can hear it in the microphone and then you do it. And my mum does it and
Brent does it.
Oh yeah, why? I've never seen anyone under the age of 50 do it.
Because it's slippery. I don't know why I do it.
Do your fingers get less traction?
Out loud.
Moist. You lose the lubrication. It's like your vagina. You lose the lubrication of your fingertips.
I need vaginal finger moisture.
Except you need friction on... Anyway, never mind. On the show today, cheat codes for life. Do you need one? What are they and what are ours? It's a chaotic Friday wisdom dump. Plus, recommendations, which include the TV show that I would really rather be at home watching right now, and so would you. Also, Jessie has something depressing for you to watch.
Correct.
And Mia's deep fashion hyperfocus. And ugly birthday cakes, debunking teenage conspiracies, and a very confronting driver's license photo. Yes, it's our best and worst. But first, Mia Freedman.
Friends, have you noticed something weird is happening with party invitations? Jessie, you drew it to my attention.
I did.
And now I'm noticing it everywhere. What's going on?
So what is going on? There was an article in Strait all about this new trend where party invitations, they're arriving too early. Earlier and earlier. They think we don't notice. But this Shreya Murthy, she's created an event planning app. She's actually charted this. She actually has some data to support her point, which is that they've seen a 14% increase in the median time between when someone creates an event and when the event actually happens. Ooh. So apparently the invitations are being sent 20% earlier than they ever have. So you're not imagining it. You are getting invites for things in 2025, which is in another lifetime.
I got invited to a wedding next September and I got invited to it.
Is it destination though?
3 or 4 months ago. Yeah, it's in Italy.
I think that's your exception. My thing is it'll be a kid's birthday invitation or it'll be girls' drinks and we're talking months months in advance.
What, like with one of those paperless post? Do you mean that?
Or just a group chat?
Both. Yeah. Both.
Oh, like someone will say, let's make it. Well, so for my group chats, when we try to organise something, often it does have to be a long way in advance because this one can't do then and this one's travelling and this one can't.
So we're too busy. Are we all too busy? And so we've got to go months and months in advance in order to secure anyone.
What's the right amount, Jessie?
Oh, that's a really great question. Well, what's awkward about this whole thing is that I'm free next weekend and actually the weekend after. So I keep getting these invites and it's like, pencil it in or write it in your diary for April 2025. And I'm like, don't know if I'll be in Australia. Don't know if I'll feel like it. I don't know because that's the future and the future is
anything
open
could
and
be
wide.
happening by then.
Exactly.
It makes me feel claustrophobic committing to anything more than 2 weeks in advance.
I feel similarly. I think it used to be pretty customary if you were having a birthday or something 2 weeks. And now I feel like it's
I know.
And if it's a wedding or a big occasion, like when we did our upfronts for work, I know this is a work function, but we did a save the date. A save the date basically means we don't have our shit together yet to have made an invitation and worked out the details, but we just want to make sure you don't miss out.
I understand that, especially when big bucks are being spent. But if it's like a birthday.
It's just dibs. It's just somebody going, I'm calling dibs on that day, and I'm going to call dibs in that day ages in advance, because then none of you have got an excuse to not come. That's the whole reason for it, because as Mia just said, we've all got ridiculously busy. I am not that popular or busy, but I've got groups of friends that we just cannot seem to make it work. I haven't seen them all year. And
that's because you're away every weekend, Holly Wainwright. You've got a lot going on.
Well, and I travel a lot for work and all the rest of it, but it's just hard. But then I'm a last minute person. So I will remember that it's my kid's birthday in 2 weeks and text everybody who needs to come to their party and go, thinking of having something for Billy on, next Saturday morning. And everyone's like, and you're like,
I've had that blacked out for 2 years.
But it's interesting, isn't it? Because you're either a last minute person or you're not. I could never organise anything that far in advance. But Penny has already organised my birthday party. It's not a birthday party, birthday dinner, which is at Christmas.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah,
because she's calling dibs.
Okay, my view on this is that it is about mental load. And the worst thing when you are trying to organise anything is this one saying, I can't come, but I'm away that weekend. And then it goes back and forth until you lose the will to have an event at all.
Do you guys use polls?
What's that?
Every group chat I have now has a poll function.
Yeah.
And
where you vote on the date.
Yeah, where you have to vote on the date. And I recently, there was a girls' dinner, there might be 15 of us. And I went, I've not been carrying the mental load. I don't know how to do this, but I've got to learn. I've got to get on the horse.
So you made a poll?
So I made a poll. And I said, can you do the 21st of October for dinner? Can you do this date?
It's such a good idea, because we just go and everyone's back and I can do it. Oh, no, wait. And so then, and then you wait and there's always a laggard. And then you're like, hey, we're waiting for you, Jessie. Can you make that date? And you're like, no.
The most popular date wins. What's your cheat code for life? I just told you mine. It's my polls.
That was a good one.
That's a good one. The thing you swear by that opens doors, makes everything easier, and you wish you knew earlier.
Ooh.
There is a Reddit thread going viral where people share their insights. And some are pretty obvious, from looking people in the eye to learning to say no to getting enough sleep. Here are some other popular examples I came across. Get everything in writing. So if you're in a meeting and your manager promises you something, then make sure you get them to email it to you. Or let's say your accountant assures you of something and it just sounds a bit like, oh, I would want to just confirm that. Get it in writing. Another one is you can make more friends in 2 months by becoming interested in other people than you can in 2 years by trying to get other people interested in you.
That's very good advice.
I love that one. And no one stops someone carrying pizza. You can get backstage at concerts. Now, we don't condone trespassing, but think about it. If someone came to this office and they just had a few things of pizza, I'd let them in.
Good.
And it smelt good.
Oh, yeah.
I'd let them in. If we were backstage at Out Loud, back to go on stage for our show.
Don't give people ideas.
I know.
Unless they have pizza, in which case, come on in.
After the show, 100%. Anyone with pizza, bring them in.
You're allowed. We asked people in the Mamamia office what their cheat code to life is, and here's what they told us.
My life hack is don't put the email address of the person you're emailing in until you've written and double-checked your email. It really saves any unedited or unfinished emails being sent accidentally.
The biggest lesson, it was actually from my dad, that my dad ever taught me, was always admit when you've made a mistake. If you can do anything in life, is always admit when you're wrong and when you've made a mistake, because that way you're always going to reflect on your behaviour and your role in something. And it also makes you look at the other side of things.
When I'm feeling overwhelmed, I try to take a moment and take 5 deep breaths. I think this helps me process what has happened and to not overreact.
When I'm talking to someone new, I try to remember one personal fact about them if I know that I'm going to see them again, like the name of their dog or what suburb they live in. I can ask them about it the next time I see them, then they know that I've listened to them and that I care what they're saying, and hopefully they can become more trusting of me after that.
So if I'm ever in a situation where I'm asked for my opinion about something that's important or a big decision or something that I just know is going to take a lot of thought, is just in the moment saying, hey, let me just sleep on this and get back to you tomorrow. I used to think that I needed to sort of have an answer straight away ready to go. But sleeping on something just always gives me so much more clarity.
Okay, so my friend has this great cheat code. She always looks smart at the airport and she reckons that's the secret to getting upgraded to business class.
One of the best things I got from a parenting book is just add water. So if your kid is losing their shit, you either put them outside with the sprinklers, throw them in the bath, or give them a drink of water. I've actually started doing that myself and it is a game changer. So if I've got a tough decision to make or if I want to go and yell at someone, I'll take a shower first, I'll drink a glass of water. It always calms me down and it always works.
Out loud as Holly was enthusiastically agreeing with almost all of those. She was like, yep, that works. Yep, I agree.
I do. I don't do them all, but they're all very good.
I also
What a wisdom there.
asked the out louders if they had any, and here are some that they came up with. I really like this one from Brooke. She says, I'm a big fan of don't put it down, put it away. So you're not allowed to like just put your bag down. It's got a place, put it away.
Oh.
Another one from Kirby. Every Sunday I make uniform packs for each kid. So school uniform, undies, socks, roll it up and put a rubber band around it. They go in baskets in our buffet. Ooh. And each morning kids go and grab their own pack and get dressed. I wish I was like her. I'm not.
Me too.
Another one that I really liked was from Chloe. This is again for kids, which is every time you're giving medication, text your partner what time because you forget. You know
That's
how it's got to
really
be like
true.
4 or 6 hours or
What
whatever?
if you don't have a partner?
Your friend.
Text
Yourself.
anyone. Text yourself. Yeah, make a note of it. Liz, good quality RoboVac. I would really like a RoboVacuum. My other one actually is, and I've started doing this, I never regret it, is taking a photo of where I parked that bloody car.
I
that's a
always
good
do
idea,
that.
yeah.
Because I have
I've
been
just
caught
started
out.
doing that.
And then I also take a photo of, if you're in the shopping centre,
Yep.
the place that you
Yep.
enter the shopping centre.
Yep.
Because it's all very well knowing you're on C7, but you can't remember where C7 is.
Exactly right.
But if you know that you came in next to T2, then you're fine.
Yes. Mia, you had a birthday this week, so I'd hope that you'd learned a few lessons. What are some of your cheat codes?
I have written down 4 that
I
I
like
could just
that.
think of off the top of my head, right? The first is if you are someone who has to have daily medication, but you sometimes can't remember if you've had it or not. I now have a pill box with the days and I just dispense all my pills, every couple of weeks into this pill box. But the other way to do it is to say out loud, I'm having my pill now on Tuesday. As you have it.
I
Say it out
think
loud.
you'd be so annoying to live with. I know you're annoying to live with.
Yeah, you do.
Where do you buy
say
those
that.
pill boxes? Just
Chemist.
Yeah.
Or
They sell
Amazon,
them
but
in all
chemist.
chemists.
you,
Chemist.
you think you know, and then you get into bed and you
Yeah.
go, no, I took that pill.
Yeah.
No,
no.
did I take
Did
that?
I? Did
And
I take that
can
pill today?
never remember.
Or was that yesterday? And it's like, I think I have a memory of taking that pill. I'm always living in my head. And half the time I'm on automatic pilot. I don't remember what I've done or what I haven't done. It might not be a pill. It might be if you always forget to turn off your hair straightener. And you're driving to work and you're like, did I turn it off? And you're like, So I'm like, I'm turning off my hair straightener today on Tuesday.
I love it.
Oh my
It's
God.
so weird.
Okay, Mia. Moving on.
My next cheat code to life.
That's like how I used to tell Billy.
Come live with
You
me.
just have
Fun.
to knock your head up 3 times on the pillow and go, I will not have a bad dream tonight. That's what Mia does.
I found another cheat code. If you don't want to have a bad dream, just before you go to sleep, imagine white, color white, like looking at a white sheet, like with your eyes closed, a white wall or something like that. If you just think white, and then you won't have a bad dream.
Scientific.
Somebody take her away. I don't know. Like, go on. Anyway, go on, Mia.
My
More.
next cheat code for life is when I'm feeling really emotional and I'm having big feelings that seem out of proportion to the thing that's happening.
That never happens.
That doesn't happen
though.
very often, so I don't know why you
Yeah.
would need a cheat code.
Thanks so much.
Happy birthday.
Except I always forget this cheat code. But please remind
We
it
should
to me
just
in
say
future.
cheat code. to
Cheat
her.
code.
I
Yeah.
had a therapist who used to do this, and she would say, "How old do you feel right now, pet?" She would say, and that sounds passive aggressive, but she was never being passive aggressive. She was, I didn't mind her calling me pet, but it was very clarifying. It immediately tunes you in, or tunes me into going, I feel 6 years old. What was going on in my life when I was 6 years old? What does this feel like to me? And if you literally say to yourself, either out loud or in your head, particularly if you're having an argument with someone, if you just are like, how old do you feel right now, pet? So here's something I warn against is asking your partner that.
Yeah, no.
Because I've tried that with my partner.
Oh, no.
And he's tried that with me because we were at the therapist together. And we both found it pretty useful. But anyway, that can make things a bit worse. But I find that to me to be really clarifying because at the time you genuinely do believe that your big feeling is about this thing, but it feels like you've been a bit taken over and you don't understand why you're so upset. Anyway, so that helps. My next one, and I've got so many. Okay, this is a really good one. How to make a decision. So you know when you're a bit like, I don't know what to do. Sometimes you can overthink it, you can over-intellectualize it, and you just need to get in touch with your gut. And your gut is actually not woo-woo. It's actually just the accumulation of all the experiences that you've ever had, and your gut is good. So what you do is you say to yourself, should I go to this party? I don't know if I want to go to this party or not. I don't know. Can I be bothered? Say to yourself, I'm definitely going to this party. I'm definitely going, as if you've made the decision, and see what emotion comes up in you. And it might be relief. It might be dread. It might be nausea.
It might be excitement.
And then just observe that for a second and then just go, okay, I'm definitely not going to this party. And observe what, and it might be relief, it might be disappointment, it might be. And someone taught me that when I didn't know whether I should move overseas to New York or take a job as editor of Cosmo. And I was really torn because they were both pretty exciting opportunities. And she talked me through that, and it's something that I've used a lot of times since, and it never gets me wrong. And then the last one is something I learned from this podcast many years ago. Instead of saying, I'm sorry, say, thank you for your understanding. And then you kind of manipulate someone into not being mad with you.
So like in emails or like in meetings or…
Like, I'm so sorry I'm late. It's like, thank you so much for understanding. I've just had the worst morning, or I couldn't find a park.
You've said as well, when I say I'm sorry, I then put some responsibility on you to make me feel better, which is really annoying for the person who's been sitting in the cafe
I'm so
for 20
sorry.
minutes.
And they're just like,
yeah.
But if you just go, thank you so much for understanding or for not leaving or whatever it is, like it flips it and it gives the person a compliment and some status for being a good person and kind of tricks them into being less mad with you.
Holly, what do you have?
Okay.
Do you have some cheat codes?
I have no practical ones because my practical life is terrible. You know, the people who are like the lady with the school uniforms. I wish I was that, but I'm never that, and I just can't get my shit together in that way. But I have like other ones. This one, who did we steal this from me? I always fuck first.
Oh, yes. That was from Dan Savage, who has the sex podcast.
This is very good advice, I find.
Does this mean that you should sleep with people all the time straight away?
No.
Oh.
What it means, so this is particularly good advice for a phase in your life, right? So imagine this. You and your partner have got a date night. And it's rare that you've got a date night because, you know, you've got kids and you've got whatever, but maybe you farm the kids out to their grandparents for the night, maybe whatever. And you go, it's going to be great. We're going to go out for a meal. We're going to have cocktails. And then we're going to come home. We're going to have sex. It's going to be great. No, you're not. You know what I mean? Like by the time you've gone out and you've had the cocktails and you've eaten the food and all, what you want to do when you come back is lie on the couch and watch something stupid on telly and go to sleep.
You feel yourself way more before.
Or fall asleep. You feel bloated. You're a bit sloppy.
Fuck first. Always. Getting ready for a wedding. It's an exciting date. Fuck first. Then go out. Got a dinner date. Fuck first. Always fuck first. That is the best
When you've had a big meal, you're not feeling like it.
Late night sex is not it when you're not. Like it's different when you're in a different phase of your life.
Yeah.
But when you're in an established, so there you go. You weren't expecting a sex cheat
because
code
then
from
you're
me,
both
but
sober
that's
and
my
you have an
favourite.
empty stomach.
Yeah, and you just and also
Makes
you
dinner
go
better.
out with the spring in your step and the sparkle in your eye.
off.
Then when you sit there at dinner, you're not like it's just good. It's just
first.
always a good plan.
That's very sound.
I really like that one. You two won't agree with me about this.
Uh-oh.
Anyone who bitches to you is also bitching about you. That is
Define bitching.
Are words to live by. You know how we often talk about how you need people in your life you can bitch to?
Yes,
and you do,
Yeah.
right? Like generally. But people who always bitch to you about everybody, they are also bitching to everybody. about you, without question.
But I'm not bitching about everybody. I might bitch about like two people to you, but I'm not bitching about you. Do you believe me? Oh my God, she does it.
I realised that about when I used to get
believe you.
Brazilian bikini waxes, and my waxer used to tell me things about her other clients.
Yes.
And I was a bit like, no.
It's true, right?
No.
I'll be taking this
I'll be taking my labia
You know,
elsewhere.
In professional settings, this is particularly true.
I agree.
Like sometimes you'll interview someone for a job when I've been a manager, and actually Mia's terrible at this because she always tries to get people to bitch in job interviews. But like if the person that you're interviewing will bitch about their current employer,
But it's
do
a
not
test.
hire them.
That's why I do it.
Yeah, it is.
It's a test.
and for gossip purposes.
Thank you for your understanding.
But I love it. Listening and changing your mind is a sign of strength, not weakness.
Yeah, I agree with that.
100% every time.
Strong opinions loosely held.
But people who are very much like, oh, you used to think this and now you think that and you said that time and all that stuff, they don't know what they're doing. Those people, they're silly. And if you don't have a better idea, shut the fuck up. That is something I live by a lot. You know, when you're just like, I don't like that, that's wrong, and you can get into a really negative cycle. You've got to ask yourself, have I got a better idea? Do I think
how would I do it? And is it honestly better?
Yeah.
And is it better always?
Yeah.
That's why.
And can you be bothered to do it? Because you probably can't, in which case, forget about it.
Yeah, exactly. There are some.
Okay. Mine are weird.
Good.
One that I have is about memory. I've said it before years and years ago, but this is something I did when I was studying at school, and I read this fact somewhere, and the fact might not be true, but doesn't matter. If you want to remember something, memorize something, whether it's like a speech or a fact or notes, I'll print it on green paper.
What?
I read it once. Apparently, if you read off green paper, it's a trigger for memory.
Do you have green paper for that purpose in your life?
I used to. I haven't needed it recently, but if I was like doing a speech where I felt like I needed to know this completely off by heart, I would do it on green paper.
I wonder if you can replicate that on your phone, because, I mean, who's going to go out and buy green paper?
Oh, see, I always do paper. I think phone's very, very different. I think that my brain is wired to forget everything I look at that's on a screen. I think when it's on paper, it holds a totally different weight.
So did you like print out all your school notes on green paper?
Yeah. Yep.
What?
And
how green?
Green that
like
you could
Kermit?
still like read it, like that the black is still visible. But even if it's not, if I'm telling my brain this green paper means I'll memorize it, then
so
I
it's
do.
like pale green.
Yeah. So that's always helped me. My rule for emails or messages or anything is do not open it until you can reply.
That's a really good rule because I always forget that rule, and that's why I'm very bad on email. I've got a minute, I'm going to read it. I'll get back to that later. No, I won't.
No, my memory's not good enough for that. I use the Pomodoro method for just about everything.
Yeah.
So timing, yep. I have a stopwatch for everything.
Explain
I do that
what
too.
it is.
It's like recently I had this big-ish project that I had to complete, and it was like pulling teeth. I just was not enjoying any – I knew I needed to do it, but it was a job. And every time I sat down to do it, I would go, you're going to do 20 minutes, look at the clock, time it now, and just get 20 minutes of it done.
So it's like you almost have to sneak up on yourself.
Yeah.
I do that. I set 30 minutes on my phone, and then I put my phone in a drawer somewhere away.
Yep.
And then when my 30 minutes goes off that I've focused, I'm allowed to play with my phone for a few minutes. Then I have to put another timer on.
It actually makes you satisfied because sometimes when you're doing projects, you can spend 20 minutes doing something and you've got no more words and you actually don't feel like you've got anywhere, but you always have. So it's a way of measuring progress. Another one I have is when you're speaking to someone and they're telling you something, say you're right rather than I know. Like if I'm really engaged and Holly, you're telling me about the substance and your analysis of it, and I say, yeah, I know. It's quite dismissive and it sounds like I think I know everything. Mm-hmm. It makes you feel a lot smarter if I'm like, oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
That's true.
Which I think is helpful for relationships.
That's interesting. A tangent on that is that I found this particularly when I had little kids and everyone's giving you a lot of advice.
Oh, yes.
And people like push it onto you. And I used to try and push back, like I used to resent it. And then I realized they'll keep going until you say, what a great idea.
Yeah.
That will shut them up. Then they'll move on because they think that you're going to do it. And you're not. But you just say that to make them stop
They'll
talking.
never know. You just go, that is such a good idea.
If anyone's giving you advice you don't want to take, say that.
My last one is argue the point, not the person. Related to that, never argue on the internet. But anyone I see, or even if I'm having a discussion or an argument with someone, there is a threshold by which they've completely lost me. And it's like any name calling, even in people that I really respect their opinion, it's like at that point I just write it off. And it's something that's really, really hard to keep yourself accountable for. And I think I'm better at it now than I was 5 years ago. And hopefully in 5 years I'll be much, much better at it. But like playing the ball, not the player or whatever it is.
So you mean like the way the internet's made everyone jump straight to you're a racist, you're a fascist, you're a...
Or even like the vice presidential debate this week, roundly people are generally saying JD Vance won that and all the leftist people don't like him, right, including myself. But rather than admitting that he won that, but that doesn't mean we should all go out and vote for him. they're all going, look at his stupid, the way he looks stupid. Look at his stupid eyeliner. Look at his stupid, and it's not eyeliner, but that's not the point. But it's like petty name calling. I'm like, immediately, I think a lot less for that person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I also think that if we're having an argument and you say something that I don't agree with, and then I go, well, you would think that because, and I bring up something from your personal life, I've clearly lost my either train of thought or my point. Because if my point's strong enough, then I don't need to start character assassinating you or making assumptions about your life. Yeah, it's something that I try and hold myself to.
It's smart because by calling someone a name, you just immediately shut down any possibility of conversation.
Yeah. Or making something personal that isn't personal. Do you know what I mean? Like, because then that immediately just puts somebody's back up and you don't, I agree. Good one. So I've got one more. Oh, sleep on it. Always, always.
Yeah.
Everything I'm really, really upset about, I nearly always feel better the next day. So unless you can't sleep on it because it's a decision that needs to be made right now.
How about that
very basic,
thing
but
everyone says about not going to bed angry with your partner? What do you think of that?
Oh, no, sometimes you need to go to bed.
I'm not a grudge keeper, so I couldn't be like, I've got friends who can not speak to their partner for 3 days and live in the same house. I could never, ever do that.
I'd have something to say.
It's just not in my nature. It doesn't mean I'm a tickly. It's just like, I'm more of a goldfish. Do you know what I mean? So that's not so much of a problem.
I think the sleep on it thing's interesting because I try to be that sometimes, but then I do sleep because you have to in the course of an argument. And then I just kind of lose interest in holding my grudge.
But maybe that's good, right?
Yeah. It can be frustrating when I want to hold it.
If it was worth holding, you maybe would hold it.
Outlouders, please jump into the Mamamia Outlouders Facebook group. We've got a thread in there that we'll pin with a whole lot of cheat codes for life. Please jump in and add yours. I am reading all of them.
Mamamia Out Loud!
That's actually a life hack.
It's Friday, and we're going to help you set up your weekend for maximum pleasure and enjoyment and intellectual stimulation. Mia Freedman, what is your recommendation for this week?
It's very specific. And if anyone has been following some of the videos I've been putting of my outfits on Instagram lately, I've become very fixated with Copenhagen street style.
See, I don't know anything about this, and I need you to explain it to me.
Are you talking about Copenhagen, the place?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not the ice cream.
Okay.
No, that's Häagen-Dazs.
Oh.
Is there a brand, Copenhagen?
No, it's a city.
All right.
Yeah,
I knew it was a city, but I know
which our Mary is queen, I do
she's
believe.
the queen of there.
Okay, but so I'm not very good about geography, and I only just learned that Copenhagen's in Denmark.
Yeah.
I didn't know where it was. Anyway, there's a particular style of fashion that comes out of Copenhagen, and it's very... I can't explain it, but I'm obsessed.
Copenhagen?
It's your vibe, right?
Neither of
It's
you
your
are.
vibe. It's like cool, edgy, baggy.
Yeah,
like,
it's things that don't match, obviously. It's, you know how we did our 3 words?
Yeah.
It's my 3 words. So it's comfortable, it's a bit quirky. That wasn't one of my words, but it's a bit quirky and it sparks joy. So it's like there's a lot of colour, there's interesting textures.
Where do I find it? Because you keep telling me this, but I haven't found any.
So I literally just go to YouTube, and this is very interesting. I used to watch the news in the morning when I was on the treadmill each morning. Now I just go to YouTube.
Days?
Exactly. I go to YouTube and I just search Copenhagen street style. And there are videos and I just watch them. I just watch people in Copenhagen and they ride bikes and they're stylish and I just watch them and it is so soothing, and usually there's music.
It's fun. I'm looking at it now.
See what I mean?
Was there
It's
a fashion
fun.
week recently?
Yeah,
okay.
there was a fashion week recently.
Like, I like this purple thing.
Yeah.
Like, this is
So
nice.
some of the brands that are Copenhagen is Baumann Federgarden, and Garni is one that you might have heard of, those kind of iconic shoes. They're called Garni ballerina shoes.
It's Garni from Copenhagen.
Yeah, Garni's
I think it's all a bit too
Copenhagen-ish.
expensive for me.
Yeah, no, but it's a style. You don't have to buy those labels. It's not about, I don't like look at the things and go, I'm going to go and buy that thing. It's more a vibe. It's a vibe, and I'm just obsessed. And I think I want to go and live in Copenhagen for a bit next year.
As if her hyperfocus is going to last
I know.
until next year. Have you met yourself?
I know.
I mean, I think it would be very exciting to go and do that. I'm all for a midlife adventure.
Yeah, I've just stopped resisting my hyperfixations,
Yeah,
and
I
it's
like
just
that.
like I'm in Copenhagen at the moment, and that's where I like to be.
You know how when my little girl Luna is at your place, sometimes she watches Dogs at the Park?
Dog TV.
Dog TV.
Yep.
This is your dog TV.
This is my dog TV. It's really soothing for my brain because I can't just be on the treadmill or anything without having something to watch. But it's very, very soothing, particularly at the moment when the news cycle is so bleak.
And
it's
calming.
slow because often the videos are in slow motion. And I don't like talking. I don't want people to say what they're wearing. I just like the ones with music that shows the people walking in the street.
All right.
It's my creative
Next
rest.
week I'll be here and I'll be going, is this Copenhagen? What about this? I thought I was French. France isn't that far from Denmark.
Yeah,
Maybe anyway.
there you go.
I can't even tell you how much I would rather be at home right now watching Nobody Wants This.
I've just started.
We've done this podcast for like 119 episodes, and this story you're telling, it just sounds like very familiar.
All right, I could make healthier relationship choices.
Hi everyone, I'm Joanne.
I'm Noah.
Did you know there's a rabbi here?
No shit.
Yeah.
Where?
He has a beard, and he was definitely judging me.
Sounds like a rabbi. Who's your friend?
There's not a Jewish bone in her body, unless you put one in her.
You're the rabbi?
It's hot, right?
I'm sure all the Out Louders watching it. In fact, they were in the group saying, watch this. And I was like, everybody's telling me to watch it. We've all got to watch it. And it is on Netflix. It is a rom-com series starring Kirsten Bell and Adam Brody. And he's a rabbi and she's a chaotic podcaster who has a sex podcast with her sister.
From Succession.
Yes, from Succession.
She was Willa.
And they are falling in love. And it is the most delightful, silly show. The episodes are all short, which makes me happy. Some of it's funny. I've laughed out loud 3 times so far. Watched 3 episodes. So that's 1 laugh per episode. That's not bad. The chemistry is amazing. And I love it.
All
it
my
has
friends-
replaced Emily in Paris as my thing I want to watch.
My non-Jewish friends keep texting me who are single. Do you know any sexy rabbis you can introduce me to?
So I have questions for my Jewish friend because the plot line is he's a rabbi, she's a not
Shiksa?
Jewish person.
She's
a shiksa.
Shiksa, which is what I am.
And in fact, I listened to Kristen Bell and Adam Brody being interviewed about this on Dax Shepard's podcast. Funny that because he's married to Kristen Bell. And it was going to be called Shiksa because they produced it, obviously.
So shiksa is
And
what
they said
is
they
like
were talked out of it.
Yeah, it's like a slang. It's not a derogatory term, at least I don't think it is. It's slang for a woman who isn't Jewish.
Yes.
And so,
A shiksa.
for example, when Kristen Bell turns up at the synagogue and all the family see her, and the family are all very pissed off about the shiksa, like very pissed off. And that's going to be the whole point of this. I wanted to know, and I know you might not have watched enough of it, but the stereotypes of the Jewish family in this are very, very boldly drawn, right? There's the overbearing mother who she's going to lose her mind if he doesn't marry a Jewish woman. There's the sister-in-law who's going to lose her mind if he doesn't marry a Jewish woman. All the women are like, ah! And the men are all a bit, woo. He himself is a wonderful character, like a really good guy. Is that offensive?
Like, I'm not offended by it. Like, of all the things that are going on at the moment, that's not on my list of things that I find problematic. No, I like it. There's truth in stereotypes, right? Often. And I'm only speaking for myself. And again, I haven't watched much of it, so I don't know what's going to happen. But, you know, I think in these very mainstream blockbustery shows, there are so many stereotypes. That's kind of the point of them.
Yeah.
Like everyone is sort of reduced and there's like the gay Asian best friend and, you know, so it's like there are many stereotypes of many different people. The thing that I think is funny is that now the cool job is being a podcaster.
I know. And it's funny because her and her sister are negotiating with Spotify to buy their podcast in the show. Spotify like, it's sex. And Kristen Bell, because obviously she's getting a little bit cold feet because she's about to fall in love. And she's like, it's not just sex, it's feminism and blah, blah, blah. And she says to her sister, we don't just want to be a call your daddy knockoff. And her sister's like, no, God forbid they'd pay us $35 million to get our show.
Oh, that's good.
So
So it's very
funny.
contemporary.
It's very contemporary. It's funny. It's cute. The chemistry's amazing. And speaking of cheat codes, they said this on the interview I saw, but their first kiss is billed as the best kiss that either of them have ever had, right? And it's supposed to be the most amazing kiss. And you can feel it through the screen. But she said it was all about his hand on her face. And that is so
the hand
true.
on the face. Yeah, it's very horny.
Speaking about cheat codes for life, men and women just need to know that.
Hand
the
on
hand
face.
on face is hot.
Hot.
Hot. The chemistry is great. Anyway, that's my reco.
My reco is a documentary on Netflix.
Is it depressing?
Look, I haven't watched the very, very end yet, so I'm unclear on that. But Out Loud, I put it in the group over the weekend and was like, Jessie needs to watch this. Oh my goodness, this show has blown my mind. It's called Into the Fire, The Lost Daughter, and it's actually produced by Charlize Theron.
She'd been missing 21 years when they finally found me. I was only 17 years old when I put my daughter up for adoption. Throughout my life, she was always in my mind. When I found out she'd went missing, I thought, I gotta find this kid alive. I don't care if I have to walk over God's green earth to do it. If I couldn't do anything else for her, I was gonna do this.
And it's a two-parter. It begins with a woman named Kathy, and she had a child when she was 16 who she placed for adoption. And it's complicated why she made that decision. She was sort of pushed into it by her mother, but she thought, I love this baby and I want this baby to have the most incredible life she can possibly have. She named the baby Alexis, wanted her to find the best family. And so the agency said, we found this great family. So she goes off to this family and she thinks about it every single day, but it's closed adoption. So she can't know. And then she gets a letter in the mail, this isn't a spoiler, years and years later that says, hi, we're the adoption agency. We need a sample of your DNA because a body has just shown up and we think that it's your daughter and you're the only biological connection. And so she's like, what has happened? And it turns out that at 14, her daughter went missing. So it's anyone who has placed a child up for adoption, your worst nightmare. Now, the reason why this is such a fascinating documentary is because of Kathy, who has not met this, well, she did meet the child. She saw her last when she was about 7 months old, but fights to find out what happened, what the truths about the family that she went to, and uncovers all of this stuff. Like, it's one of those documentaries that you're sitting there and you just gasp. Luca and I were just going, like, the twists in the first episode are amazing.
And this is all real. When did it happen?
She got that letter in 2010. So it's about what's been happening over really the last 10 years. It's just outstanding.
What an amazing, unusual story.
Yeah. It is called Into the Fire, The Lost Daughter, and it is on Netflix.
Out Louders, if you want to listen to us every day of the week, and why wouldn't you, you can get access to exclusive segments on Tuesdays and Thursdays by becoming a Mamamia subscriber. Follow the link in the show notes to subscribe, and a big thank you to all our current subscribers.
It's time for our best and worst moments of the week where we share a little more from our personal lives. Holly, do you want to kick off?
Yes.
What's your worst of the week?
My worst of the week is that my daughter, like every 14-year-old in the world, I imagine, is addicted to TikTok. That's where she gets all her world news from. Sometimes this is helpful because it's like a door into a topic I want to discuss. So she'll be like, what's happening with Trump and Harris and the American election? I want to know. Like, I saw that he called her a blah, blah, and she said blah. And I'm like, teachable moment. This is fun. And sometimes it's just like a chaotic stream of conspiracy that just makes you realise one of the many reasons why the world is so weird. But
I think I'm on Matilda's TikTok.
I think you must be. This week in particular, we talked about the P. Diddy allegations last week and the fact that he is currently in jail and on an ever-increasing slate of charges of sexual abuse and sex trafficking and all kinds of awful things. And Matilda's TikTok algorithm is clearly obsessed with this, which is not great to start with. But it's so blatantly misogynistic. Like, so she'll sort of say to me, so what about that P. Diddy stuff? And I'll be like, oh, God. And I'll be like, okay, and let's talk about that a bit. And she's like, I've heard that, like, Beyonce knows about it and Rihanna knows about it and it's all this person's fault and that person's fault and it's always women. And she's like, and there's a big conspiracy about this and this and this. And you're just like, whoa.
So there's a conspiracy theory about why Kanye got up at the VMAs.
Yes.
And said, I'm going to let you finish. Yeah. And it's basically like Beyonce is at the center. This is a conspiracy, is at the center of the P. Diddy thing. I can't even fully follow it, but my algorithm wants me to believe it.
And it's like, this is what Matilda's saying to me. The reason that everybody at the Grammys always thanks Beyonce is because they have to or they'll get murdered. Like, she's like, it's this, right?
Wow.
And it's ever escalating. And so you're always trying to pull it back down. So maybe we're trapped in the car going somewhere and that's great. And I'll be like, so, this is what appears to have happened. And I'll be talking to her about really serious things about how women can find themselves abused in these situations, blah, 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 blah. And she's just like, yeah, but what about that Taylor Swift thing? It's just like, oh my God.
We're all being radicalized.
We're all being radicalized, and it's very hard to unpick, like the good, the bad. And I know that it's easy to say, well, she shouldn't be on TikTok, but TikTok's where they live. So bring on the ban so I don't have to deal with this anymore. I don't think that's going to happen. My best, though, also involves spending time with kids. As people who follow me know, and indeed who listen to this pod and mid, is we've been sponsored lately by Discovery Parks, and this isn't a sponsorship, but it's meant that we've gone away a couple of times, right, which has been really nice as a family to go away for weekends. And it's the school holidays, and I'm up in Sydney a lot for work, and there's a lot of time I don't get to spend with the kids. And so having these little concentrated moments where we're all in the same place together has been amazing. We're actually going on holiday, not anything to do with that, next week. And I don't know, I know some people don't love holidays. Me is one of them. I love an enforced togetherness of a family
Since
holiday.
becoming a parent, the amount of people who say you never have a holiday again when you're a parent, do you agree or disagree?
Disagree now.
Okay.
So I saw Sally Hepworth writing about this on her Instagram recently, actually. There's a moment that ticks over. So when your kids are little, family holidays they're just relocations. You go somewhere and you've got to follow them around all the time. You haven't got all your usual distractions. You won't get a break. But then there's a magical point where it ticks over, and this is what Sally was saying on hers. She's like, she used to look at the women lying by pools reading books while their kids frolicked and be like, that bitch. And she's like, now I'm that bitch. And I'm now that bitch. So these trips we've gone on, there are lots of things for the kids to do, and they can go and do them and I actually get a holiday. And so now it's much more enjoyable.
Relaxing.
And you're together and you haven't got all the distractions and I've got to do this and I've got to do that. And I don't know. It's nice to be reminded sometimes that you like your family.
My worst was actually related to last week. I was kind of under the weather and I just had a lot going on last week. And I finished recording for Fridays Out Loud and I just felt like I'd done a shit job. And I was driving home and it's one of the worst feelings in the world where you just feel like you tried your best but you couldn't give it 100% that day. And you know that if you recorded that or if you did that piece of work on a different day, you'd have done better. And I just felt, ugh, I hate that feeling. And normally,
this is where we jump in, of course, and it will be meaningless to her, but to tell her how fucking good she is.
Oh, no. Holly said to me, I thought Jessie was a bit off this week. And I'm like, yeah.
Always carrying her.
It's just, I've had it with a few things, with a few, you know, whether it's an event or something and you walk off and you kind of go, oh, I wasn't my best.
I don't have that. I'm like, God, I was good. No, but I do, like often after Friday's show, I'll be like, God, I'm sick of myself.
Yeah.
I'm sick of my opinions. I'm sick of my voice. I'm sick of my face. I need to be in a dark room, not saying anything, just looking at Copenhagen fashion videos.
Yeah, very true.
So, yeah, it's like that kind of yucky.
Yeah, and then I get stuck kind of ruminating on it.
You know what, though? I'm just going to say, I know it's like Pollyanna, but I was listening to people talk about the football game that's this weekend, the NRL Grand Final, and they're saying that Nathan Cleary, Mary Fowler's boyfriend, as we all know him, with a broken shoulder, as he has, is still going to be better on the field.
Podcast?
Yes. Like Nathan Cleary with a broken shoulder is better than no Nathan Cleary. Jessie Stevens
I like that.
50%
that makes
is
me feel
still better than 99% of the rest
Better
of
than
us.
you?
Better than me.
Often.
Yes.
Yeah. Very often.
It's true.
My best is, it was aforementioned Mia turned older this week.
Yay.
53.
And she turned 53. I had a morning on Tuesday at home and I went, I'm going to make this bitch a cake.
Oh, you're so nice.
Because I am a trad wife now. And this has been a really interesting narrative plot point. But I was like, I'm going to make
Not
her
only
a
trad
cake.
wives make cakes.
And so I told Mia's daughter, I was like, I'm going to make a cake because I had to make it real. And she said, this is Mia's favourite cake. Because in my head, I was going to make a really simple cake. But then she was like, this is Mia's favourite cake. Oh, my goodness. It was the most complicated. I needed a sieve.
It's literally called Simple. I know, that's true. It's called Simple Chocolate Cake. It's a taste recipe. And I literally Googled Simple Chocolate Cake and it got me this recipe and it was so yummy.
Yeah.
When I made it.
Yes, when you made it. So you have to do something on a stove. Anyway, I tried really, really hard. But at what point did I know it had gone wrong? I think when I poured it into the cake tin, I knew it was too thin. And then I went, it'll rise in the oven, but it didn't. So it kind of looked like a brownie, but tasted like
Frisbee.
dirt.
But what's strange is where the rest of the cake was.
Yeah,
Because
it's
I've
like there
made that
wasn't enough
cake with that
mix.
mixture. And it's like, I think the problem is you didn't put in self-raising flour.
I think that's what we did. So what I did
It's
is
like a patty.
I made the cake and I brought it over, and this is why it's my best, is because I was thinking on the way over. There are so many women with their mother-in-laws who would be terrified, who would have a mother-in-law who would really judge them for whether or not they're cooking a good meal or whether or not their baby is wearing dirty clothes, which Luna often is, all that kind of stuff. And I thought, I am so lucky that this will inevitably become a joke. And like I didn't actually feel any pressure because I knew that it was the act of trying to make a cake that would innately be funny. Yes. And that Mia would appreciate that. So then when we cut the cake, we all just sat around trying to guess what made it shit.
Yeah,
Which it was like,
funny.
is there eggs?
And then she
Yes.
also brought M&Ms and she iced it. The icing was delicious. I ate all of it. I'm going to put a photo of the cake in the Out Louders newsletter this week.
Maybe people can tell from looking at it what it was missing.
And the thing is that it should have been my best actually of the week because no one else made an effort. Like, I don't know if it's men in every family, just men in my family, they don't even understand. So Coco the night before put streamers up everywhere and blew up some balloons so that when I came downstairs, Coco made an effort and she doesn't live in our house anymore, and Jessie made an effort. Luca did not even write me a card. And cards are my thing. Like, all I ask for is cards. Like, I don't expect anything. And the fact that Jessie did that when I know that cooking, like, that was just such a big
Luna and I
gesture.
made you a cake.
It's the best, no, I won't say it's the best tasting cake I've ever had.
No.
But it's the best cake I've ever
I
had.
love that.
Everyone said it
You're
did
so
pass
lovely.
as a cake. So
I can't
self-raising,
bake either, Jessie.
self-raising flour is different to flour.
Yep.
I wonder what it says about you because Mia always says she can't cook but she can bake, and I can cook but I can't bake. So it's like, I wonder, there are bakers and there are cookers, right?
Two
like
types of people. What if you're neither?
I can make a pasta sauce like nobody's business, but I cannot bake a cake to save myself.
The thing that I reassured Jessie is that even if you make a shit cake, it's still a cake. So people aren't that sad because they can eat the icing.
And I don't think it'll make you sick. Like, I don't think there was anything that bad.
No, it was fine. My worst of the week was I had to go and get my driver's license renewed, and so I had to get a new photo. And I went early because my son had to get his L's, and that's been really fun too, driving with him. I've forgotten that is actually quite fun, although that we're at the beginning of our 120 hours, so talk to me after 100 more hours. So he had to go to the RTA, whatever it's called, the motor registry place, and I was like, I'll come as well and I'll renew my deal. Anyway, we thought we'd miss the crowds. It was Saturday morning. We were like the first ones there, like first minute that it opens. I just got up. I'd had a cup of tea, but I wasn't going to like put on makeup. I hadn't had a shower. I was just like in my like trackies and like whatever. You know how when you sometimes look and you just go, I just look natural. I just look like, you know, fresh, natural.
I look like myself, like it'd be fine.
I just look like myself. So I just did my picture, whatever. License arrived. And I can't, like, I'm not a vain person, as people say when they say that I'm on Instagram with no makeup and everything like that. But I recoiled. And I was actually, I think I need to put this in the bin and get another one. And is that just too vain? Because it is so upsetting.
Do you remember how M. Vernon said that there's a whole service now that
now
will
I understand. I always didn't understand it, and now I understand it. Out Louders, we also will put a photo of my driver's license photo in the newsletter.
You showed,
so I would like people to
She
weigh
showed
in.
us, and my first thing that I said to you, because it was true and you needed to hear it, is you don't look like that.
Thank you. Because you know with that shock of like, there's how I think I look, and then there's that, and you're like, wait, is that how I actually look?
Yes, and we needed to confirm to you the person in that picture isn't you. And then when we did watch The Substance, and there's a bit where she turns into what I've been described as a Gollum-like character, there was a lot of yelling, look, it's me as driver's license photos.
And then we had lots of fun putting that in.
Was an
our group
allegory
chat.
about my driver's license photo. My best of the week is loosely related. My parents are doing the grey nomad thing a bit this year. They keep taking trips, and they keep getting flat tires. And it is just, every time I speak to them, they are by the side of a road somewhere in Australia waiting for help. And so this week I don't even know where they are, somewhere in the South Coast, somewhere, because it was my birthday. They rang me and they're like, guess where we are? And I'm like, I don't know. I forget where you've gone. I wasn't paying attention. And they're like, we're by the side of the road waiting. And last time Dad had to change a tyre. And so I spoke to them today and she was like, it just keeps us occupied. What would we do if we didn't have these exciting adventures? So
what else? Yeah, what do you talk about? They've been married a long time. This way, it's all about the tyre.
Team Grey Nomad
Do they
for
have
the
a
win.
caravan?
They should. They don't have a caravan. They need something that they can shelter in when they're by the side of the road.
Brent and I are getting to that phase of life now where when we see caravans, we're like, do you think that's the one we'll go on?
Yeah.
That's the one.
You need like a motorhome, I think, because you don't want to tow something.
It's
That's
a long
hard.
way away. Don't worry. I'm like, it's in my future.
There is a world of caravan TikTok waiting for you.
Oh my
I will
God.
say that. It's a great place.
You've got some weird TikToks. So if you want to see all of those photos, the birthday cake, the driver's license, there's a link in the show notes if you're not already subscribed to our newsletter.
Thank you, Out Louders, for being with us this week. We will see you next week, of course. And a big thank you to our team. Executive producer, Ruth Devine, whose cheat hack is throwing people's names in the freezer if they annoy her. What?
I do that. Yeah, you freeze them.
Oh, my mum does this.
Yeah, put them in the freezer.
Like literally?
Yeah, you write their
It's
name on a
voodoo.
piece of paper and you put them in the freezer. You're like, she's going in the freezer. Or he, in the
My
freezer.
gran famously did it to someone and they got very sick and then she stopped doing it because she got scared that it was actually working.
It's meant to sort of take their power away from you.
Yeah. Like as in they can't affect you anymore.
Yeah.
I like it. Oh, shit. Now I'm really scared of it.
Oh, you're in freezers all over the country, Holly
Oh,
Wainwright.
no. Senior producer Emeline Gazilas, who swears by not sweating the small stuff.
Yeah, I can tell. That's why she's our producer.
That's the only way that she can get through our
work with
life
us.
being
It's
with
so
us.
true.
When things don't go her way, she tells herself that's showbiz to lighten the mood. Our audio producer is Leah Porges, who swears by writing an email first. That's very smart. I always do that too. Leah's very clever.
Yeah.
And our social media producer is Isabel Dolphin, whose cheat code is not my monkey, not my circus.
That's a good one too.
I love that.
Bye.
So wise. Bye.
Shout out to any Mamamia subscribers listening. If you love the show and want to support us as well, subscribing to Mamamia is the very best way to do so. There is a link in the episode description.